ChasingIssues.com. This is the Daily Chase, where we'll discuss trending topics. On today's show, we have Trump's ominous warning to the UN, Joe Biden, conservatism turned toxic, and Carrie Fisher. How's it going tonight, Rob?
Oh, it's going well, man. Carrie Fisher, love that woman.
I do too, going back all the way to the early days of Star Wars. About 1978 or so. I can't think of a time in my life where I've not looked up to her and admired her.
Yep. And even in her last debut, you know, she looked a little older, but it was still Carrie, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when we get older. I got a little gray myself, so. All right, so leading off, Trump's ominous warning to the UN. Apparently, things are going to change and be different after January 20th. I think that's the understatement of the year. And that's what Donald Trump apparently tweeted today. And that was his direct quote. As to the UN, things will be different after January 20th. Now, to what he's referring to, there was a surprise decision by the U.S.'s Samantha Power to abstain in a UN vote over Israeli settlements, one that provoked Israel to lash out at the Obama administration, and they quote, "Friends don't act that way." More importantly, they defied Trump, who in a previous tweet urged Obama to veto the resolution. It was only a question of how long before Trump tweets his response. This time it was less than an hour, and just because minutes after the vote, the president-elect slammed the current administration's decision, he has come out multiple times and said how much of a friend he's going to be to Israel. So this is kind of leading to a direct face-off between Trump and Obama on the topic of Israel itself. So we'll see how things turn out between now and January 20th.
I wish there was actual leadership in the UN and the thing actually worked as advertised.
Anytime you have a collective, you're going to have a collective of lack of leadership. No one really seems to step up. And at the end of the day, it's a good thing, because I don't want the rest of the world to tell us and impose their will on us.
Yeah, there's been so many times in the past where we say we don't even want to get involved.
Now, Glenn Greenwald, who is a reporter for The Intercept, actually tweeted out that it is rather bizarre that Trump, after running on America First, wants to isolate the U.S. from the entire world to defend Israeli occupation. I love his phrasing, occupation. So there again, it always goes back to, is it Palestine? Is it Israel? Is it a combination of the both? You know, that's one of the things that Obama's been trying to work out over the last few years. He wants to try and recognize a second Palestinian state there within Israel. It's just been a toss-up as to how things are going to go. And you know what? I don't care if we isolate ourselves from the rest of the world over this topic or many other topics, because like Trump did run, it is on America first.
Yeah, Israel's just got to be completely confused, because all of a sudden we're not backing them like we have been for so many decades, and just bringing up the whole Palestinian thing again as if we're not on Israel's side, it almost seems like.
Been a lot of contention between Obama and Benjamin Netanyahu. You know, I think it's kind of funny that over the last few months with the election, that everybody's been screaming and yelling on the Democratic side that they don't want any other third party, being the Russians, intervening in our election and influencing our election. Yet, you know, by all reports, the United States, through the Obama administration, was doing that exactly with Netanyahu when he was running for re-election. So it's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black.
Seems like a whole lot of hypocrisy with this.
It is,
this whole election on both. You know,
I don't expect otherwise from the Democrats. They're pretty hypocritical most of the time anyway. So they love to do one thing and then turn around and point the finger the minute somebody else does anything remotely close. So
talking about get over the election, get over the electoral college, and then all of a sudden, after they lose, we have to change that now. I mean, what?
Correct.
You know,
correct.
Next time goes the other way, you know, they're going to just spin it all around again. Oh, electoral college is the best thing we've had since sliced bread. You know.
Yeah. Well, Samantha Power, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, explained the move in a statement to the council, condemning Benjamin Netanyahu for continuing settlement expansion while paying lip service to the idea of a two-state solution. Quote, one cannot simultaneously champion expanding Israeli settlements and champion a viable two-state solution that would end the conflict. One has to make a choice between settlements and separation. But I tell you, And that's end quote. This is me. I'll tell you, since Israel has built their wall and has led to further separation between themselves and the, quote, Palestinian state, end quote, man, their terrorist attacks have just plummeted down to almost nothing. So I think it's a pretty valuable perspective. And, they've had a few tunnels dug and some attacks that way under the wall, some mortar rockets, etc. But for the most part, there's no mass bombings on buses, and there's no random, other attacks. There's a few people that have, had some street attacks with knives, but that's pretty much the gist of it. Nothing like they used to have. So I think it's pretty effective. I'm pretty anxious, and there's a lot of ways I think that us in the United States should mimic them quite a bit when it comes to security.
Looks like in about a month or so we're going to, huh? And then some.
Well, if you listen to what Trump says, once again, things are going to change after January 20th.
And on the Israeli thing, if you're not being anti-Hezbollah, what are you? It's quite simple.
Yeah,
here they are getting bombed and harassed. And if you're not going to support not bombing Israel through Hezbollah, what's wrong with your MO? There's got to be something guilty going on there. You know?
This little tweet, definitely once again gives a lot of hope. So I think things are going to be different, and it's going to be nice. I think the U.S. will stop wasting our time and money on things and let things be. So
every time I go to the mall now, every Christmas time, and I see that little kiosk up with all the olive tree wood ornaments for the tree, I'm looking to buy 2 or 3 of those in support of Israel. They get tired of all that anti-Semitism. That's what it seems like, even from the not supporting them and having no action to help them and being silent. That's almost to me like an admission of guilt right there.
One of our biggest allies. So, yeah. All right. So moving on, we have a Joe Biden story. Gotta love crazy Uncle Joe.
Creepy Joe. Remember that?
I do. So what's going on with Joe tonight?
So Joe is saying that he thinks all along that Hillary doesn't even know why she ran for office of the presidency, that she has no clue as to why.
I can see that. She didn't have a clear vision. Every leader should have a clear vision of where it is that they want to take their followers and how they want to get there. And I don't think she ever articulated that very well.
What was her saying for the campaign? Stronger together, right?
Stronger together, right out of the platform of the Democratic Party.
So that's almost a following rather than a leading, right there.
Sure. And then, of course, they had that little phrase,
Hillary Clinton
love Trump's, love Trump's hate, and was saying that Trump and his followers were haters. So that's not really a strong message. It doesn't. There's no action there. There's no call to action. There's no get it done right now. This is what you need to do kind of message. It's a statement. It doesn't lead you to take an action. It just fell flat.
Yeah, and when you have a motto such as "Make America Great Again," and you can't figure out how to say that's a good thing, or you just try to tear it down everywhere, that's kind of suspect. Even Joe Biden, he's been saying, a lot of people, if you look at the trending news right now, they're starting to talk about how Joe is setting himself up for the next election. That's what they're saying right now.
I got mixed feelings about that. I don't think he'll ever get elected. He might, but man, he's getting kind of up there, and it's just kind of scary if he ever actually ran. I know a lot of people like him. In fact, some people on the internet seem to like him quite a bit. I don't know how many people on my news feed on Facebook and in Twitter and even on Reddit where people have commented how much they are in love with Joe. He's like the newest old man heartthrob.
Well, we would have a really good time making news on him every week because he would keep putting his foot in his mouth, and we could constantly just go after this poor, lovable, everyday, run-of-the-mill guy, Joe the plumber kind of guy.
Yeah, and if you look at Joe, I think he has good intentions, unlike some of the other Democrats that are out there. I do think he's probably a really good person. He'd probably be really, really fun to kind of hang out and have a few beers with. If more for the entertainment value of it because of the things he'll say. But You're right. I think if he actually ran, or even if he even won, he'd be fun to discuss week after week.
Yeah, maybe we could just call him Joe in the Box. You know, like Jack in the
Yeah,
Box. You just
Joe in the box.
wind him up,
Why do
and
you-
in the end, this Joe comes out.
Oh man, Joe in the box section here on the Daily Chase, or even on the Chasing Issues program. That'd be great.
Creepy Joe in the Box.
Yeah, be a
He's
great
that
Christmas
uncle that
present.
walks up to the girl and, "Hi, sweetie," smothers her with hugs and kisses. She goes,
Oh, speaking of which, have you seen the video compilation of all the times that he's been a little handsy with his affection with some of the women on the
"No,
last
man."
8 years or so? Wow, Google it, YouTube it, whatever you do, find it. It's hilarious but creepy.
Man.
It definitely will make you rethink things about Crazy Uncle Joe. But you're right, he is kind of like that Crazy Uncle Joe at Christmas or at Thanksgiving, that kind of gets a little handsy, does a little bit more than he should, not the normal hugs and kisses, maybe even kind of goose a boy, or pat him on the
Oh,
butt,
he's been
He's
hanging
that
out with Bill.
creepy guy that you just, dread seeing every year. I don't
So,
know.
they've been interviewing him and making articles on him and all this kind of stuff. I can't really figure out exactly where he's going with this on Hillary. He's dancing and dancing and dancing, and he's not coming up with why he thinks she can't. So I can't figure out what he's trying to do. Either go against her, be with her. He's just trying to be pragmatic, or he's just trying to say something.
I,
Maybe trying to get himself on TV. I don't know, but he's got to know why.
Well,
You know.
I think the biggest nugget from the interview that you were referring to was the fact that he says, quote, "a bit of elitism has crept in," end quote, "to democratic thinking." And we've been saying that for years.
Oh yeah, that's what they are, elitists.
That's right.
And he says that he's probably the poorest senator on the floor. That's what he always likes to make a joke about.
Yeah.
You know. But
And it's not
basically,
like
he's kind of a likable guy.
yeah, it's not like he come from nothing anyway. He's done pretty well for himself. So
Yep.
I don't know.
Pro-military, and he's, pro. He's Catholic. He doesn't believe in abortion, even when he tries to dance around it. I think his only answer is to not say anything. But man, we should get him on the show and convert this guy to conservative because I don't think it'd be that hard.
I
Probably
don't know.
Fool into it.
It'd certainly be nice to have him on because I'd love to listen to him talk.
You hear that, Creepy Joe?
Nah. And with that, we'll move right along to conservatism turned toxic. What's that about, Rob?
Oh my gosh. Salon.com, your favorite website?
Oh, you mean that progressive liberal website? Ugh.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they just continue to talk about, conservative toxic. I don't think they have anything more that they can talk about. So they want to try and say that all we're doing is negative talk, and we have no scruples, and we have no agenda, and the only thing we're doing is saying negative things about the Democrats, and that's all we got. So let's cover real quick what conservatives are about. Number one, Maestro.
Money.
Oh yeah, and everybody's about money. We're just telling the truth about it, right?
Well, I think that you're right. And you could probably say the Democrats are about money, but they're all about trying to share that money and give that money away. Where we're here to try and have that personal freedom to keep it and do what you wish with it for yourself. That's the biggest
correct.
difference.
So we are about creating and making money from effort, and they're about taking the money from the people who make the effort to give it to someone else to get more power from votes and support, right?
Yeah, in a loosely speaking manner, yeah, I would agree with that. It's
Yep.
it's not always just about votes. It's about they believe they can spend your money better than you can to help other people out. Whereas I feel like with my use of my money and through charitable organizations, through the church or through a local charity, I can actually see the direct influence my money gives. I have that
That's
say.
right.
So
It's your choice. You like the freedom of choice on what to do.
I do. I like the
With
freedom
your
of how
earned
I
money.
earn that money and how I spend that money and how I donate that money to charity. I don't think the
Right.
government can do it better than me or anybody else for that matter. I love how
Yep.
Salon in the article here that you're referring to, the conservatism turned toxic. I love that they call the 2016 election the horror show. It's a horror show because they lost. Let's face it. Come on.
Exactly.
Now, if Hillary would have won, that'd have been saying it was the greatest thing ever.
Yep.
The glass ceiling's been broken. It would have been just glorious. But now it's the horror show. Come on.
Right.
So,
So
they talk about all the factors that went into the horror show, and that's the cultural change, the economic change. Thank goodness it's economic change. We need to be making some money and making the economic change like crazy. It's not even, can't even touch that subject. Then they'll go on to say racism. I haven't seen any racism that's perceived, is not real. Liberal complacency after Barack Obama, the FBI manipulating the election. There again, I don't believe that they manipulated the election. They were just investigating Hillary. She shouldn't have done what she did. Wouldn't have been anything to investigate. Wouldn't have been no, quote, manipulation, end quote. And, of course, the Russian government manipulating the election. There again, it's a perceived. They've never proven it. And, of course, hatred of feminism. Whew. Man, they want to lump everything into the basket there, don't they?
there's got to be a book on isms, right? There's an entire book on isms. And it's got to be with negative
I'm sure a
connotations.
liberal's written it, too.
Yeah, the liberal ism, you know.
Just call it the ism book.
Yeah, the ism book. Well, maybe we need to write the ism book.
Maybe, even if it's only the thing from the conservative perspective. I don't know.
Yeah, and the isms lost this year.
So, going on to read the article on Salon, they keep talking about the phrase "preparing for Trump" is trending on Twitter. And of course, one of the liberals wrote an article laying out a 10-step process to resist Trump's attempt. Oh man, this thing just seethes with animosity towards conservatives and Trump. You know, it just goes on and on and on. Marissa Miller, I'm assuming this is the Sports Illustrated model, Marissa Miller, or maybe she's Victoria's Secret. I know she's a supermodel of some sort. She tweeted, quote, "Get rid of those hashtag safe spaces. As you are preparing for President Trump, you might as well get ready for some un-PC language. Hashtag mega, hashtag free speech." You know what? Great. Bring it on, because I'm tired of PC language, aren't you?
Oh,
I am so sick of it.
Language.
You know, let's call it like it is. If you don't like it, at least you know where I stand.
And have you noticed that Trump is one of the most down-to-earth guys? Basically, he just comes out and says things exactly how he wants to say them, feeling like he could just talk about how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but they got to bring it in like he's just taken all the products and dumped them all together and squished them around and stepped on them. I mean, he's got every day, I bet you, they say more dumb things about something he said that was common sense. And he just probably tells his crew, look, I'm not going to worry about what they say anymore. This is ridiculous. I could say that tomorrow I'm going to the grocery store to buy some eggs, and they could come up with, no, I'm putting all the chickens in cages. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's so crazy, PC, everything.
It is. And, there again, this article is just a hit piece. I mean, they quote a Vox article on top of that, which, in case you don't know what Vox is, there again, it's just another progressive liberal website that just hates conservatives. And, they go on in the article talking about how conservatives are always slamming liberals and talking down to them. And, they turn around and do the exact same thing in their articles. So it's not like it's a whole new level of dehumanization, as they put it. It is what it is, We don't like them and they don't like us. I hope at some point we can get meet in the middle and kind of figure out where it is that we can both agree and work on something, maybe compromise and come to an agreeable stance and what's best for the country. But sometimes, I'm pretty much of the opinion that they just want it their way and that's it, period. There's no compromising.
And the bottom line is this election, more people chose the truth and the real way of doing business, common sense, than the people who have hidden agendas behind the scene, just taking advantage of the other successful people.
Sure.
It's like, it's just against human society. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, last but not least, you know, Carrie Fisher suffered a massive heart attack today. Fisher, 60 years old, was aboard an 11-hour flight from London to Los Angeles when she went into cardiac arrest. So that's very unfortunate. We hope she does well. I know her brother, Todd Fisher, told the AP, the Associated Press, that she was out of the emergency and has been stabilized and is in a Los Angeles hospital, but declined to offer any further details. You know, we really wish her the best. Hope everything's okay with her and she makes a full recovery. It's pretty sad to see somebody you've grown up with have any kind of health conditions, but particularly something as sudden as this. I know we just lost a few weeks ago Alan Thicke, and our heart goes out with his family as well. So I know that the Los Angeles Fire Department also disclosed that the patient was aggressively treated on the inbound flight to Los Angeles from London. So once again, we wish her well.
And you know, if this turns out to be a bad thing, it's good that she got to be, you know, have another starring role as Leia.
Yeah, one of the last time.
What was the last rank she attained? Was it Admiral Leia? I couldn't remember.
Who knows at this point?
She's up there, Admiral. Yep, she did really well, and I hope that everything turns out okay. And I hope I'm right that she was an admiral, because I'm not too sure.
May have been a general. Who knows? I love all the Sith have no real titles other than just being Sith. Like Kylo Ren, there's no title, no rank. It's just Kylo Ren, Sith Lord.
Right.
But you've got everybody on the rebellion, and they've got titles in the military form. So I don't know. She was in London promoting a book tour, and she was also filming the UK sitcom Catastrophe. So she's still working, and that's great. I'm glad to see her back out again, and hopefully we'll see a lot more from her in the future.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully she's okay. Everything turned out good with all that.
Yeah. And with that, I think we're going to wrap this episode of The Daily Chase up. We appreciate your listening. And if you like what you hear, please share our program. Check us out for more stories at chasingissues.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Or simply share us in person the next time you have a conversation with your family and friends. And with that, Rob, let's get out of here.
All right, man. Christmas in a few days. We'll see you soon.
All right. Have a good night.